Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Earlier today we had some reasonable light, and I've mentioned the talk that I'm putting together has been quite dramatically changed, quite honestly. There's an awful lot of the text has come out, the idea being to insert some video clips. I took a few of those clips this morning. Obviously when they're included in the talk there'll be no sound. The idea is that I talk along with the video, but I've left the sound clips on for the sort of words I'm going to use. So these are the sorts of things I'm going to be adding in at the end of, after talking about like the Oncidiums, we'll have a look at some plants. So that's the general idea. So these are just, well, what will appear now is just random clips because they haven't been inserted in the talk yet. But these are the sorts of clips that I'm going to include in the talk to break it up a bit and not just have pictures of blooms and text slides. Because I could see a lot of the comments were that could be a little monotonous, and I agree. And I do videos basically. I'm not really a stills photographer. I mean, my photography is not bad, don't get me wrong, but it's not what I say that I do. I do videos basically. So these are a few of those clips to get slotted in. I'm getting on quite well with that talk now. I'd say it was 3/4 amended. I've still got some more work to do, but as soon as it's done, I'll re-record the soundtrack to go with it and post it up as a sort of final version, because I doubt if, once I've done this set of changes, I doubt if it'll actually get changed again. It's actually quite a lot of work. Slotting bits in between loads of clips is not as easy as it might sound, because you've got to find a gap to put things in, and if there isn't one you have to make one, which means sliding everything about. So this will probably be the final one when I get there, but it's underway, and then I can get at the other two talks that I've got to do. Well, let's get this one out of the way first and put it to bed, because it's going to come up, you know, the end of February is going to creep up on me if I don't get going on this. So these are those clips anyway. These are a couple of my Tolumnias. These are relatively mature plants, mainly to give you an idea of size. If I get my hand in there, then you get a better idea of size. They can push out new growths from almost anywhere, and they will eventually clump up into quite a nice sized bush. They do have long spikes, and some of them really do have long spikes. That's a reasonable example of a spike. Buds just forming on that one. So that's that one. Let me just get that out of the way. And then this is my only Tolumnia species. This is Europhila. This has currently got some spikes just starting. You can see one there, and there's another one up the back there. This is an example of what to expect with the root systems. All of mine are mounted, and they will spread their roots out quite dramatically over a mount and really grab hold of it. I always have a little bit of moss on mine. Certainly in the summer they will dry incredibly quickly on a mount, and they need to at least hydrate before they dry off, but ideally they should dry off every day. So water in the morning, give them an absolute soak, and then during the day they'll dry off and do it again. In the winter time probably every second or third day, yeah, they do well mounted, but they will grow in other things. So that's some examples of what Tolumnia plants look like. With the Brassier types, you are often looking at some pretty large plants. That's a 12-inch ruler at the back there, or 30 centimetres, and this is certainly not the largest, but nonetheless gives an example. Egg-shaped pseudobulbs, yeah. Flower spikes, old flower spikes, many, and new growths will push out, sometimes 2 new growths per bulb, but they will progress in a normal sort of Oncidium type fashion, and they can grow quite large, quite large. As far as Oncidium types go, the plants can vary in size considerably, from very large or very tall, depending on how you want to look at it, to actually quite small. Up the back there is a species, that's Oncidium sotoanum, been repotted in such a way that all of the new growths, which are currently pushing out roots, have got somewhere to grow into rather than being up against the edge of the pot. This is a recent acquisition. Again, we've got the 12-inch ruler there, coming about halfway up the plant. I don't always pot them in pots. I do have some that are mounted. This is actually a Miltonia. Yeah, it's currently pushing out its new growths. Quite happy on its mount. This is one of my Twinkles, Twinkle Cinnamon, currently in bloom. Nice compact plants. A profusion of blooms, very, very fragrant and quite attractive little plants. This is Oncidium Tiny Twinkle. This is about the smallest Oncidium I've got. Very fragrant, sweet honey vanilla fragrance. Quite happy on its mount, pushing out roots in all sorts of places. But if you look at the shape of the plant, you've got these sort of egg-shaped pseudobulbs, irrespective of the size of the plant. So that's a tiny one, but then you can see next to it the size of the pseudobulbs here. Yeah, so they can get quite large relative to you know, my hand size. And as you can see, the size of this plant from the top of the pot to the top of the blooms is about 24 inches. 60 centimeters, so they can be quite tall, and some of their spikes can be incredibly long as well. So that's some examples of Oncidium plants to look at. One of my favourites, that little one. Lovely little plant.